Welcome to another edition of the 13 News Now Sports Overtime Podcast. We got Mr. Brian Smith in the house. I don't know if the viewing public knows this, but Brian Smith doesn't sleep. He doesn't sleep. No sleep for Brian, and he still has more energy than all the rest of us. Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Yay, yay!
Love to hear it. And then Shane Fordham only goes to sleep when he realizes that he has lost whatever argument we're having in the group chat. And then he retires to the bedroom, and he does get some well-deserved shut-eye. Shane Fordham, how you doing?
just starting off with lies. Like that's how you want to set the tone today? Just starting off with lies?
No, let's reset the tone because I am Connor Real, and we have some really, really tasty topics to discuss today. Obviously, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and we're going to be one of those shows that does talk about the Indiana Pacers a little bit. How about those Pacers? We're going to cover all of the NBA playoffs. We're going to cover a really exciting NBA draft lottery, one of the most exciting NBA draft lotteries I've ever watched. But we begin a little more local because NFL schedules were released yesterday, last night, 8 p.m.
Yep, last night.
The Washington Commanders going into their most highly anticipated season, 25 years, 30 years, officially have a schedule. We're going to get into that. But first, Shane Fordham, who's opening the season? I believe the Super Bowl champs normally open the season. Is that correct?
That is true. That is correct. It would be the Eagles versus the Cowboys. For Eagles fans, what a great way to start the season. You're welcoming the Cowboys to the link. They're forced to watch us put the banners up, do a little ring celebration. What a better way to start the season.
That's right. And equally exciting for the Eagles and the Commanders, the NFL knows something because they put the Eagles and the Commanders playing each other in 2 out of the last 3 weeks of the season.
So the Cowboys squeezed in between.
The Cowboys squeezed in between. No, I mean, the Commanders are likely going to have a chance to do serious work in their division going into those last 3 weeks if this season goes basically the way that we expect it to go. Do you guys think it'd be good content to run through it week to week? Should I go through the schedule week to week here?
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah,
it's the only way to do it.
All right, let's run through. I'll try to make it quick. Commanders are going to open the season on September 7th against the New York Giants at home. So their first game will be at FedEx. Then they go on the road week 2, September 11th, to face off against the Green Bay Packers. Then 10 days later, September 21st, week 3, it's the Las Vegas Raiders again at home. Back on the road to play those Atlanta Falcons, the same team that they played a thrilling game against in the last week of the regular season this past year. Then October 25th, week 5, they go all the way out to LA to play against the Chargers and Shane's favorite quarterback, Justin Herbert. Then prime time, Chicago Bears at home, a rematch of the Hail Mary land from last season. Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams, part 2, number 1 pick versus number 2 pick, part 2. Then week 7, they get another division opponent. This time they're going to Dallas. Then week 8 at Kansas City. That'll be a good test no matter what you guys think of the Chiefs. If Mahomes is there and Reed is there, it's a good test, especially on the road. They get Seattle at home in week 9. They get Detroit at home week 10.
Payback time.
Rematch. I know Detroit is going to come in there highly motivated after they fell in the playoffs to the Commanders. Week 11, you go to Miami to face the Dolphins. Dolphins sneaky, could be good this year, could be really bad this year depending on how things go.
And remember, that game is also one of 7 international games because they're going to Madrid, Spain.
Oh, great call, Brian. I missed that. That's an excellent call. So it's
7. And it's the first time in Madrid.
Right. And that's actually helped for the Commanders because that was supposed to be one of their road games, and it's actually kind of a neutral game. So a little bit of a benefit to their schedule there. Week 12 bye week, they get a kind of a late bye, which usually is a good thing. You can get healthy for the stretch run. Week 13, Denver comes to Washington. Denver, a big season last year. Can they keep it going? Week 14, at Minnesota. We'll see how J.J. McCarthy is, but Minnesota has a really, really strong roster. And then, like we said, 4 straight weeks, all division opponents to end the season. At New York, Philly at home, Dallas at home, at Philly, the defending champs, to finish the regular season. And that Dallas game, by the way, is on Christmas. So that's the schedule. Brian, I want to start with you. First thoughts on this Washington Commanders schedule?
I believe you would say saucy. It is definitely a busy time for the Commanders. They're getting a tough schedule at times. They got some traveling to do. They've got primetime games. 2 of them, I believe, are Monday, or one's a Monday, one's a Thursday. And a lot of those NFL games, we got to mention too, that are on Monday night, of course, here on 13 News Now. So definitely check it out. But yeah, in terms of the scheduling, it's expected. When you go 12-5, you're going to get a tough schedule the following year. And I see that right now with the Commanders and Jaden Daniels.
And to B. Smith's point, before I go to Shane, they open the season on September 7th. Then they have the first Thursday. I guess the Eagles have the first Thursday nighter against the Cowboys, but it doesn't feel like a Thursday nighter because it's your first game. The Commanders have the first short week Thursday nighter. They play at Green Bay, so they get 4 days of rest from game 1 to game 2, and then they're on the road to Green Bay. That's a really, really tall task. The Bears game will be a Monday nighter. The Chiefs game will be a Monday nighter. So no, and then they've got 2 Sunday nighters, Seahawks and Broncos. So no shortage of primetime games for Jaden Daniels and the resurgent Washington Commanders. Shane, your first thoughts on this schedule?
Yeah, this is just a really entertaining schedule as a whole, especially for a team that was nothing but entertaining their last season. I mean, there was never a moment for Commanders fans to relax. I mean, even their wins were exciting, but then a lot of their wins were nail-biting wins. So we were sitting on the edge of our seats, even for the Dubs, sitting on the edge of our seats. You know, the way they lost, they still went out swinging in a lot of in their losses last year. But looking at their schedule, they got 5 primetime games, not counting their international game. That is a huge schedule for the Commanders this year, coming off of really a Cinderella season. Jaden Daniels coming off of a historic season, proving to be arguably the greatest rookie quarterback to ever play the game of football. All of the different milestones he set last year. But I got to say, they are also playing a lot of teams with really good to great pass rushes. I mean, they're seeing a stacked Giants D-line week 1. They're going to have to, obviously, being a divisional opponent, they're going to see them twice. Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. But then they also picked up the best defender in the draft class in Abdul Carter, who is known to be a bit of an edge rusher himself. Week 2, they got Rashawn Gary in Green Bay. Week 4 in Atlanta, we're seeing the Commanders are going to see that sort of rookie edge rushing duo in Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. Then they got to see Khalil Mack in San Diego. Then they get to see their old running mate Montez Sweat in Chicago for that Hail Mary rematch. Then, of course, you see Micah Parsons twice a year. You see the Eagles D-line twice a year, Jalen Carter and the boys. Then the Kansas City Chiefs, you got Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, Dana. I mean, that's a stacked pass rush as well. The Lions, a healthy Aiden Hutchinson, you know, a healthy Zaire Smith, you know, coming off the edge. So this is a stacked D-line. The Vikings, Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, 2 Pro Bowlers at outside linebacker. So they are seeing a lot of good pass rushes this year, but it's a good thing they have a reinforced O-line this year. One of the biggest talking points of this Commanders team, in my opinion, picking up a guy like Josh Connerly with their first pick in the first round. They got sort of adding some more reinforcements to a bona fide Pro Bowler in Sam Cosmi. They picked up a stud, a veteran stud at left tackle in Laramie Tunsil. They got a standout rookie in Brandon Coleman, who they are moving over to the guard position from tackle. And I mean, that's proven to be a pretty good move. I mean, we saw that with the Eagles last year. Mekhi Becton used to be a tackle for B. Smith Jets. They moved him over to tackle.
Thank you for that reminder. Yeah,
you're
I
welcome.
appreciate
you're
that.
welcome.
Yes,
We
he has
turned
a Super
we
Bowl
turned your boy
ring
into a
and
Pro
the
Bowler.
Jets.
You know what it is? Hey, B.
We
Smith,
turned your boy into a Pro Bowler.
You ever have a jar? You ever have a jar that you can't get open, and you try and try and try, and then you give it to someone else, and they pop it right open.
That's Mekhi Becton. Yes,
Mekhi Becton situation.
Yeah.
And then it's falling out.
That's exactly what happened. But I think that's going to be a great move for this Commanders O-line this year. So they seem to have the O-line to kind of contest and protect Jaden Daniels with against all of these D-line guys that are going to be trying him this year, trying to see if he's the same guy he was his rookie year. But yeah, just a lot of interesting things we're going to see this season, I believe.
I agree with you on that one, particularly with the offensive line. They can now switch guys for different positions. You have to be a mobile offensive lineman these days to succeed in the NFL. So it's no different right now with Washington. And that combo is nice because now you can plug guys in different positions who may not naturally be in their position, but you can get away with it. So, yeah, definitely. I like what's happening with Washington's offensive line.
A major key to that, you hope you can get Sam Cosmi back healthy and on that offensive line, not only because he's a great player, but because he's proven to be a real leader on this team. Yeah. Great point, Shane. If you want to succeed in the NFC East, you got to be able to protect. Now, an exercise that it's May 15th. This exercise is really, really silly, but I always find it kind of fun. I want to go through. Can we go through and do a little record prediction week by week? Each of you guys give me who you think, and we'll see what their record is at the end of it. All right? All right. Week 1, Giants. What do you guys got? W or loss?
Dub.
Okay.
I think that's a dub, no question. Are we getting into why, or are we trying to speed round this?
I want to kind of speed. You can, if you feel like you've got something you really want to get out about the matchup, go for it. I think we all know that the Giants have a quarterback problem. They're coming off a really terrible season, so that's kind of an obvious dub.
They may have a head coach and a GM problem the way things are these days. So, yeah.
You would hope. Justice for Brian Daboll. I think Brian Daboll can be a good coach in the NFL. We'll see how he does.
He just has terrible ownership. He's a victim of terrible ownership.
Wow.
I don't blame Brian at all.
Lamar has a couple Super Bowls, though.
Yeah.
He's got a couple things. All right. 4 days later, at Green Bay on Thursday night. W or loss?
Ooh. I'm going to say a very close dub. I say 2-0.
A lot of faith. What do you got, Shane?
I'm going to go with dub too. I think there's
schedule loss. I'd have put that, I think, on the road with that short rest week too.
I know. That's what I'm hesitant.
Team.
But see, that's where a team is tested the most. I mean, if you can win a game like that on the road, short week, I mean, that's the type of win that can really set the tone. Having that early on, that's the type of game that can really set the tone for the rest of the season. I mean, no doubt they're seeing a loaded receiver room. I mean, this is a deep offense, really one of the more underrated receiver groups in the NFL. Adding a guy like Matthew Golden to the mix. Connor, I know that's one of your guys. Definitely a fan of his tape. So, but they also did do work in the secondary specifically. We talked about their O-line. They did add some reinforcements to the secondary as well. They pick up Will Harris, a vet DB to kind of replace Jeremy Chin, letting him go. But then they also draft a sleeper DB in Trey Amos from Texas as well. I think Trey Amos, I think it's safe to say he'll end up getting some minutes over Marshawn Lattimore just because of his age and his injury proneness.
Yeah.
But do you think if Lattimore is fully healthy, you think that he might lose his starting spot? Is that what you're saying here?
Well, I mean, if he's fully healthy, probably not. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore, when healthy, is still a stud at corner. But we've seen last year too. He was, but it was a midseason trade, but we have seen that Marshawn Lattimore is not someone that can contest with the size of a guy like A.J. Brown. It'll be interesting to see how he's able to hold up against a receiver like Malik Neighbors, a receiver like CeeDee Lamb. He's going to have to play George Pickens twice a year this year as well. I think Trey Amos –
You would think that the Commanders being able to cover on the outside is going to be more important than ever because there is no pass rush to be seen on this Washington Commanders team as of right now, especially from the edges. right?
I will say this.
I mean, Dorrance Armstrong had a solid year this past year.
But I will say this in terms
but he's
of that
not somebody who puts
turnaround,
fear in the hearts of opposing locker rooms. You know?
Yeah.
That short turnaround, though, Connor, I think the Washington has proven themselves last season on the road in Detroit with that core group of guys. I think they can get away with it. That's why I said it's a push, it's close, but they've shown on the road in Detroit where nobody really gave them a chance, and he came away with a win. I just think that's just my opinion.
Okay. And they have the coaching.
Yes.
There's no doubt they have the coaching to sort of fill in the gaps where there may be some.
A matchup against the Packers, I like LaFleur in that coaching matchup. Or I at least think that he is a formidable coaching opponent. I mean, LaFleur and his staff, week in and year in and year out, are very good. All right, moving on. Week 3, Las Vegas Raiders at home. Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, and the Las Vegas Raiders. What do we like? Are we going 3-0? W. Boy, these guys love themselves, the Commanders. Go
Same,
ahead.
I second that. I'm going dub.
So we got 3-0. The Commanders are starting 3-0. And they are the talk of the NFL once again, according to you guys. That's not what I have, but this is your all's exercise.
You think they're losing to the Raiders?
I think they fall to the Packers.
Oh, okay.
No, but it's doable. Yeah.
I understand that. Yeah, I don't think that's a crazy thing to say because I mean the Packers are they're a talented team, but they're also a young team. They have a quarterback also who has a very high ceiling in Jordan Love. He's not as consistent as Jaden Daniels, obviously, but he's definitely a guy with potential. I mean, all around talented team. They still got a solid secondary.
Hold on, we got to keep moving forward here now.
Oh yeah,
we're back on week 2. We went backwards. All right, good points, well taken though, Shane. And guess what, guys? We're gonna have all of August to dig deep into this team and their opponents. But we just got the schedule, so we want to dig into it a little bit right now. Week 4, ATL. All right, you get in Friday night maybe. Are the guys going out? Are we out on the town? Are we seeing some of the sights in the ATL, or are we locked in and we're taking down the Falcons and Michael Penix?
How about yes to both?
A W from B. Smith once again, and we have the 4-0 Washington Commanders. Shane's going Falcons here. He's got prayer hands. Anytime Shane goes prayer hands, he's going to say something wild. That's a staple of the Shane Fordham experience. Shane, even with the hat on, your hairline is straighter than the brim of the hat. What you got?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Your hairline's better than mine.
Shout out Demond, Capital Cuts. I'm honestly, I'm definitely leaning Commanders, but part of me is thinking this Falcons team has something in Michael Penix. I mean,
Shane, they're not going to go undefeated. Give them an L if you're feeling it. These aren't our final answers, guys. It's just a preliminary look.
I mean, they're 3-0 already in my book. I think they got to get one sooner or later. I'm gonna go L against the Falcons.
All right, so we got an L against the Falcons. Shane's got them at 3-1, and then guess what? Coming off a loss, we got to go across the country. We're playing at Los Angeles. Now, remember.
Wait. What you got? You didn't tell us what you got.
This is y'all's exercise. I don't even have I'm here to support.
Start warming up and say something.
You can't put us out there and then you're not chiming in. You got to give an answer.
What you got?
I got them beating the Falcons.
Okay.
So then we go out to Los Angeles. And now remember, those Chargers home games, especially with a fan base like this, going to be a lot of Washington fans, but across the country, different time zone. And we are in the 425 slot on Fox, which helps a little bit. You got the W, Shane. What you got, B. Smith? Finally, B. Smith considers a loss. He got the L. All right.
I got that.
You think they're going to lose to the Chargers before they lose to the Falcons?
They might.
Listen, we all know Shane is a Chargers hater, okay? There was no other way for that answer to go.
They might.
Crazy.
And only because going out west is hard.
Going out west is hard. Okay.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football against the Chicago Bears, the rematch. It is so difficult to know what the Bears are going to be this season. They have a new coach. They have a quarterback who has all the talent in the world, but it didn't manifest into wins last season. They've got some talent, but they've also got some real weak spots. So the rematch after the Hail Mary land right here on Channel 13. Chicago Bears in Washington. What do y'all got?
Wow. So long as a certain secondary guy doesn't start jawing at the crowd at the end of the game. That probably won't happen. Hope it doesn't. I still go with the dub.
W. Shane?
Yeah, I think it's a W, but I think it's going to be a shootout for sure.
Yeah. I
definitely think it's going to be a shootout.
I have them taking a loss to the Bears, I think. I think the Bears come in there and they're like, we cannot let this happen again. Right. Then we are going to Dallas, division matchup against the Cowboys, that 425 Fox slot. What do you guys think? I bet you they got Romo on that one. Romo's going to be on the call for that one. Here we go, Jim. Here we go. Jaden Daniels is perfect, Jim. All right. At Dallas, October 19th. It's almost Halloween, boys. What do y'all think?
Ooh.
It's going to get spooky for Dallas. That's what it's going to get. It's going to get real scary for Dallas.
W for Shane.
But Dallas has been known to surprise. What was last? Did Washington split or go sweep last year? I'm trying to remember.
Last season, they lost that. Remember, they lost that crazy one.
Yeah.
We're going to win, and then the Cowboys were going to win, and then the Commanders were going to win. There was a kickoff return for a touchdown. You remember that game?
Yeah, I do. I was there for that game. Yeah, that was
sweep.
Wow.
Sweep.
Sweep.
Oh my God! Can you do your chores? Can you do your chores after? Tell Mrs. Fordham that we're podcasting.
Is this in Dallas or it's in Washington, right?
No, this is at Dallas.
At Dallas? Ooh. Reluctant L.
Come on, B. Smitty.
Reluctant.
B. Smith.
I know. Look, to me, it's a no-brainer, but it's Dallas.
Now,
exactly.
Shane,
it's Dallas. It's
Shane,
Dallas.
1, 2, 3. All right.
Come
so Shane,
on, B. Smith.
Hey, sorry.
Again, though, Shane, he always matches his agenda. Noted Dallas Cowboys hater Shane Fordham, which I can relate to. But I think you're underrating the Cowboys a little bit. They're probably going to be top heavy again. But I think if you get a healthy Dak for a whole season, I still think that the Cowboys are a formidable opponent.
If I'm putting money on one quarterback to win the game between Jaden Daniels and Dak Prescott in the clutch, I'm putting all the cards on the table for Jaden Daniels.
No, I get it.
There's just no way.
I just don't think they'll run roughshod. And how many games in are we?
So we are 7 games in. Shane has the Commanders at 6-1. Brian has them at 5-2.
Now, the only reason why I say that is 7 games in, you don't know what kind of wear and tear Washington's going to go through.
Well, right, but you can't base it on that, Beastman.
You can't.
Wait, I'm going off of. I'm assuming everybody's healthy.
We don't know the wear and tear any teams are going to have. We got to
I get it, but it is Dallas. It is on the road. I wouldn't be surprised.
Predicting injuries is a dangerous game, B. Smith. That's some witchcraft right there. Don't be doing that. All right. So, after our contest against the Dallas Cowboys, once again Monday night, ABC 13 at the dynastic Kansas City Chiefs on their revenge tour for the embarrassing pantsing that they received from the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. At Kansas City, 8:15 Monday Night Football. What do y'all got?
I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. I can't. Sorry.
All right. So 2 losses in a row now against 2 formidable opponents for B. Smith. Shane, what do you like? Monday Night Football Chiefs?
Yeah, I'm going to go L2. Okay. I think, especially assuming this Chiefs team is healthy, so Mahomes has all of his weapons, meaning Rashee Rice is back, Travis Kelce is back, even though we don't know what version of him we're going to see or get this year. Hollywood Brown will be back. You know, they'll have Pacheco and possibly Kareem Hunt coming out of the backfield with the defense they have. So I'm gonna go L.
I think the Travis Kelce that we have going forward is a pick your spots Travis Kelce, which is not a bad thing because if he is able to pick his spots, sort of LeBron-esque, where he's like, all right, time to turn it up. Fourth quarter, big drive.
I knew he was going to bring up LeBron James. I just knew it. It just took like maybe almost 25 minutes for him to get in and mention LeBron. We haven't even gotten to the NBA draft order yet. So
strong analogy.
You mentioned LeBron. I'm not hating on LeBron. It's just that,
you know.
You talking about the dude that was almost ranked the 3rd greatest player of all time? That's what
I'm talking about, the all-time leading scorer in the history of the National Basketball Association. Okay, so November 2nd, we are officially into November, boys. Thanksgiving's on the horizon. We had a great Halloween. You know, everything is going really well. The Lakers are undefeated. And we have
that means LeBron must have retired.
Yeah, no, he had to retire.
Bronny's starting at the 2. Bronny's starting at shooting guard.
We traded Gabe Vincent and Rui Hachimura to the Mavericks for the number 1 overall pick. All right.
Focus, so NFL.
And look,
NFL.
Nico Harrison saw Cooper drinking 1 beer and he put him on the market. So, you know, we got him now. Okay.
He said he believes in the Rui Gabe duo. He saw what they did in the playoffs.
Defense wins championships. Gabe Vincent sure does know how to move his feet. All right. November 2nd, the Seattle Seahawks are in Washington. The Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold, no DK Metcalf. A bit of a weird squad over there.
No Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
No Tyler Lockett. Shane's boy, Kenneth Walker, is still hanging out. Hard to call it on what the Seahawks are going to look like next year. A lot of it comes down to Sam Darnold, if he was a one-hit wonder or more of a Baker Mayfield resurgent career type of situation. What do we got? I already know where you guys are going. I mean, this is Sunday night football. This is prime time. You guys are both going W's, aren't you?
Dub.
That's an easy dub.
Okay.
Easy dub. I would be shocked
by late in the fourth quarter.
All right.
I would be shocked if Sam Darnold has over 3,000 passing yards this year. Okay. I would be shocked.
All right, just save it. Take it easy.
I would be shocked. I'm sorry. I would be shocked.
November 16th, Miami Dolphins in Spain at the Santiago Bernabeu, the home of Real Madrid, 9:30 a.m. All right, B. Smith will still be up. Shane, you got to set an alarm. So, Miami Dolphins in Spain. What do we like?
I'm taking Commanders.
Dub.
Definitely.
That's a dub.
Right. So
you skipped the lines, though.
Did I? Oh, shoot, I did skip the lines. Good stuff, Shane. Let's rewind.
Lock in, man. Lock in.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Lock in.
Right, that's on me.
He's suffering from LeBron syndrome.
I did. I started thinking about the Lakers.
Told you.
All right, let's lock back in. Let's get back to football. We got plenty of basketball talk to come. All right, Lions, rematch in Washington, November 9th, 4:25 Eastern. What do we like?
I'm liking Commanders on that one.
Yeah, Shane?
Yeah, I like it.
Take a deeper breath. It might help.
Yeah, really. Breathe. You might get lightheaded.
Keep in mind, these predictions have no bearing whatsoever.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna go.
It's an L, Shane.
They gotta lose one. I mean, they're not gonna have just one loss in the season. I gotta go Lions.
Well, currently, Shane, you have them with 3 losses right now, Shane. You currently have Chiefs, Falcons, and now Lions.
Yeah, I'm saying, this will be their 3rd one. Yeah.
Okay. So
what do I have on that right now?
B. Smith, you have the same thing. Which brings me to my next point. We're at our bye week. All right, everybody chill out, relax. It's Thanksgiving. Okay. Hopefully Virginia Tech has more than 4 wins. Hopefully we're still doing this podcast. And you guys foresee no sophomore slump whatsoever, despite the difficult schedule from the Washington Commanders. None.
It's going to be hard, don't get me wrong. But I think this team is mature enough and have the coaching staff that really knows how to help guide them through this process. What they did last year was incredible.
And we're not talking about a young team either. This isn't like this is a young team on the rise. Like, this is a team full of vets.
Yes.
I mean, they got guys like Bobby Wagner and really Marshawn Lattimore now on defense, being able to mentor these young guys.
Yes.
They got on offense, they got Laramie Tunsil, Sam Cosmi. They have voices of reason in the locker room. They have maturity on this team that happens to just have a young superstar at the helm in Jaden Daniels. So
now, Shane, I hate to do this to you. Okay, I really do. I hate to do it to myself. I'm doing it to both of us. Okay. I believe that the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles had a veteran locker room, and they had a lot of voices of reason, and they lost 6 of 7 down the stretch.
That's not the same thing, though.
Just about the vets.
That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. If you look at that 2023 Eagles team, there was also a massive drop-off in the coaching as well. Commanders have kept all of their essential coaches. They still got DQ And we know, I mean, he's really, as a defensive guy, the defense is going to be in good shape as long as he is in Washington, and they still got Cliff Kingsbury calling the offense. In the Eagles situation, they had lost Shane Steichen and they had lost Jonathan Gannon, replacing them with Sean Desai and Brian Johnson, two guys It just, I almost threw up saying the names, Connor. I almost threw up myself.
Can this be a Baltimore situation?
If I didn't take
Don't say the name.
If I didn't take a Pepto-Bismol before this, I would have threw up all over camera.
Wow.
There's a huge difference between the situation that the Eagles were in and what the Commanders are in heading into the season.
A couple things we got to address here. Brian, the guy's taking performance enhancers before the pod. Okay, he's slugging Pepto before the pod. No wonder he's up. All right, I thought we were doing this thing here.
I'm sorry, I need to reinforce my stomach.
Okay, I will also mention that every team now has a full year of tape on Jaden Daniels.
Yes, that is true.
And they have no pass rush. It's a problem. It's a real on the field problem. But your point is well taken about the continuity and the coaching staff. All right,
culture has changed too. That's the biggest thing. That's the reason why they were 12-5 last year. Everybody changed. Everybody bought in. Veterans came early to training camp, and then the preseason stuff, the offseason stuff.
Like you said, a pretty easy schedule last year, and a lot of those games were cardiac commander last minute wins. So I think they're going to be a really good team.
Yes,
you guys both got them at 8-3. That's solid. We can only hope. Okay. Coming out of the bye week, we got Denver coming to town. Sean Payton is in town. Bo Nix. Speaking of a sophomore slump, how's Bo Nix going to look in year 2 after shocking everybody in year 1 with his relative excellence? Denver Broncos, 8:20 p.m. Sunday night football, November 30th. Shane has already gotten his Christmas present for his boo. He's got all of his shopping done already. And who does he have winning this game when he tucks himself into the couch?
That's a very responsible outlook on me, Connor. I appreciate it. It's a very
I see you as an early gift getter. Yeah, I see you as an early gift getter. Is that not the case?
I appreciate it. I will neither confirm nor deny my timetable of Christmas shopping. But I appreciate the responsible and positive outlook on me in the holiday season.
I got you. Listen, nobody here. Listen, if you got on 3 Livestrong bracelets, all right, you got to be a responsible guy. All right, what do you got? W or loss against the Broncos? We got to start moving through this a little quicker.
Go to B Smith. Get him B Smith first.
I say with their running game, if it works and they can keep him off the field, Commanders will win.
All right.
Yeah, but see, that's where I'm thinking differently, because this is a very elite defense against the run and the pass that they are seeing in the Broncos. I mean, it's one of the biggest reason why Patrick Surtain was Defensive Player of the Year this year, because he was the best player on the best defense. Arguably.
I get it. But if you can keep the defense on the field, just chew up some time. That's it. Just a little time here. Take advantage of your opportunities. I could see the Commanders winning. And it's at home. So.
B. Smith, while Shane thinks better corner in their prime, Pat Surtain or Champ Bailey?
Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey all day.
I saw Champ Bailey as a rookie.
But Pat's on his way. But Pat Surtain is on his way.
On his way? He's arrived.
He's arrived. He's here.
He's arrived.
In terms of getting to Champ Bailey level. Well, he might have been, his peak might be there.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, Champ Bailey, yes, definitely.
Shane, what you got?
I mean, I'm gonna go Commanders. I mean, I'm looking twice at this defense, but I'm gonna go Commanders.
I thought this drill was gonna go so much faster. All right,
we're going. I don't mind making those decisions.
This is a tough schedule. I gotta weigh my options.
It is okay. We're going to. You only got 2 options each time.
Win or lose.
They're big out. They're important options.
They are important options, no doubt about that. We are headed to Minnesota. Justin Jefferson in the building. Jordan Addison is around. Speaking of good coaches, Kevin O'Connell can do some things. What do we think at Minnesota? I mean, we don't know what J.J. McCarthy is going to look like, so this is a hard one to predict. But that's where we're at.
I'll take Commanders.
All right, man.
It's his first year coming back from an injury. Yeah, I could see Dan Quinn taking advantage of that lack of experience in a heartbeat.
Shane?
I'm gonna go L. They're away in Minnesota. You know it's gonna be cold.
They have a dome.
Minnesota inside.
They have a dome.
Oh, no, you're right. Well, it's still going to be an away game. Minnesota is elite on both sides of the football.
Going in and out of the hotel, on and off the bus, chilly.
Don't matter to them.
Dynamic offense,
all right,
dynamic defense.
I'm
gonna go Vikings on that.
Now, this next one, the cold may play a factor because we are going to New York at the Giants. Has Jackson Dart taken over as the starting quarterback for the Giants? Or is Richmond's own Russell Wilson still? Oh, Shane's still mad about the Shadur thing. Look at
that. Don't get me started.
Fordham stood up on 13 News Now Plus on our live draft show and said Shadur should have been the first pick. 5 rounds later,
no, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
All right, at New York Giants, what do y'all got?
I'm taking Commanders. I say season sweep.
Yeah,
you guys. Love you some Washington Commanders. I mean, we're looking at. I mean, they're probably the number 1 seed at this point based on these records, at least in this book. All right, Philadelphia Eagles in Washington, one of the biggest games of the year, no doubt about it, and that is going to be. They haven't even put the time in there, so that one's open to a flex on Fox. December 20th, Christmas is around the corner. Do the Commanders have a gift for the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that demolished them in the NFC Championship game? You go first, Shane. You got that.
Yeah,
you're smirking heavy over there.
Heck no, that's an L. They're not. Let's look. We know ball. We know how talented this Eagles team is going to be this year. Y'all know I'm a Commanders advocate. I was a Commanders advocate before y'all were Commanders advocates. So I mean, I'm all for the Commanders, but that's going to be an L. But I do think. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but I do think they could take the next game. But that's mainly just because
we'll get there.
Starters are going to be out.
B. Smitty, what do you got?
I lean tight game this time, and I initially was going to say this, but I'm going to go with the Commanders.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll go with the Commanders.
All right.
Oh, my
Next
gosh.
up.
Good. It made them flow on the floor. I love it.
Oh, my gosh.
That's crazy of a take.
I said it's going to be close. I said it's going to be close. They demolished them the last time. I get it. That's called payback. They're going to want to get back at him.
All right, we got to let my answer on the other. Shane's going to lose it. He's got the prayer hands. I'm not going to him. All right, the Cowboys are in town. It's Christmas Day. Shane is still mad about what B. Smith just said. He's opening presents and he's thinking about B. Smith. But the Dallas Cowboys are here. You got a dub, B. Smith?
Got a dub.
Okay, so you guys think that B. Smith? You think the Commanders are going to be the best team in the league?
One of them, yeah.
All right, Shane. Oh yeah, he's got. Okay.
Wait a minute, you got the Cowboys sweeping the Commanders.
Other way around.
Or them sweeping. Yeah, okay. Yes.
Okay. No more household cleaning items allowed in the pod.
Really
unless you got to do a little Febreze. Either one of you guys feel free to hit that. All right. At Philadelphia, the final game of the regular season could be for the division. I mean, this game could have serious playoff implications. Both teams expected to be really good. And they play the last week of the season. Time and date are both TBD. The NFL may very well flex this into prime time. What do you guys like? Shane, I already know what you got. Oh, well, no, you said you're wavering on this one.
What? Yeah, I mean the Eagles starters will be sitting by this point in the season anyway. They'll have it clinched already. So
it's a pretty good take. All right, you're going W.
And the Commanders will still be fighting for a higher seed, so they're gonna have their starters in. So I definitely think that's gonna be a W for the Commanders.
Let me ponder that.
You got B. Smith. Think it out.
I think that we hope the Eagles will be dominant and they'll be resting their starters. I say they'll still be playing their starters.
No. We hope the Jets will get over 5 wins this season. We don't need to hope that the Eagles are going to be clinched by the end of the season.
That's the reason
I'm saying there's a difference.
I'm choosing the Eagles. They will play their starters.
B. Smith is just slow walking us.
Just disrespect.
All right. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to tally these up real quick.
Yes.
Well, I think I had them losing to the Falcons, Chiefs, the Vikings.
All right, so
Eagles.
I got it. Thank you for talking amongst yourselves. Shane just read his own list again. All right, Shane has the Commanders finishing 12-5 on the season. B. Smith, you've got him at 13-4, and B. Smith has them winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of their last 9 games. B. Smith has the Commanders finishing hot and with a 13-4 record. So you legitimately think the Commanders are going to be running the league right up at the top?
I didn't say running the league. I said they're going to make a statement. I think, particularly with the additions they made in the offseason. That's just my opinion.
I've got them closer to an 11-6 type of number. I think the schedule is really hard. I think they've got some big holes on this roster. But again, I think Daniels will find a way to be magic. I also think nature of the game. Some of those games where you had a Hail Mary here, a 2-point conversion stop there, some of those law of averages is that they'll go the other way at some point. So we'll see. But it's not just sort of the coincidence of nature. When you've got Jaden Daniels, you're more likely to win those games because he is such a phenomenal clutch player. All right, let's get to the NBA. Any last thoughts on this? Last quick thoughts on the Washington Commanders schedule dropping. A lot of prime time. Going to be a really, really exciting season. I know that we're pumped to cover it, and I know B. Smith is excited to get back up to FedEx and be out there.
I think it's Northeast.
Oh yeah. Oh shoot. Okay. Northwest Stadium. Good catch, B. Smith. Still getting used to that. Shout out to Northwest. One of my favorite directions.
And eventually back to DC.
And eventually back to DC. What do they say? 2030?
Yes.
You like that, Shane?
What's wrong? What's wrong with you?
Right. What's wrong with me? That was supposed to take 10 minutes. We're 42 minutes into the pod. All right.
This is a big topic. What do you want me to do?
No, you're right. All right, let's do some NBA. What do you guys think?
Wait. I need to give final remarks on this real quick.
Okay, final remarks.
Real quick. I do think, all jokes aside, that there really isn't a game on the schedule that is not winnable for the Commanders. I think all of these games are winnable. Even looking at the Eagles games, plural, I think those are even winnable, even with the starters on the field. I just think what we saw from the Commanders last year, Connor, I know you said law of averages. It's likely we'll see a lot of those nail-biting games we saw last year go the other way this year. But I do think with what they were able to do last year, adding the pieces that they have, even though there are still clear holes in the squad, I do think that the Commanders are in a position right now where there isn't any week on the schedule that they can mark up as an L.
Now, with that being said, I think the two hardest games in the NFL that you can play is at Philly and at Kansas City. And they have both of those on their schedule.
Yes.
They play a West Coast team on the road. So I think that, I mean, they're a good enough team that they can beat anyone in any situation. But I do think that this schedule is tough.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
Interested to see how we do here. All right, let's move on to a little bit of an NBA draft, shall we? Are we ready to talk about the Cooper sweepstakes? And the fix is in?
I couldn't believe it.
This much crying about it since I remember back in '85 when I guess it's first started with Patrick Ewing. Everybody was having a field day. Oh my gosh, what is this? How are the Knicks doing it? I saw the look on Dave DeBusschere, the late Dave DeBusschere's face, the stress level of whether or not they would get Patrick Ewing or not, and they finally get him. I was happy. As Knicks fans, we were all happy at that time. So and even then, they were talking fix. It was a fix. And I'm like,
have you seen the video?
Huh?
Have you seen the video?
Which one?
Nico?
No, have you seen the video of see this is what B. Smith does to me. Now we're back in 1985. Have you seen the video of David Stern pulling that New York Knicks card? He rummages. There is clear rummaging.
hate all you want.
I'm not hating.
Hate all you want.
I'm not hating. I'm glad Patrick Ewing went to New York.
You have some haterade on your beard there. I'm just saying. You spilled some on your beard.
I do not. That protein shake.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm trying to come up. B. Smith. Tira was making fun of me in the morning meeting. Shane told her that I've been hitting the gym, and she just laughed right in my face. Sorry, y'all. Tira's our manager, y'all.
It's okay, Connor. She'll take you serious in a couple months.
Yeah. We're gonna get up there.
A couple months.
He's gonna send me his workout plan. All right. So, your first reaction, B. Smith, is you're opposed to all the crying because the fix has also been gifted to the Knicks in the past, and so you don't want, you're okay with other teams getting.
What's the trend that normally happens? Team gives up big pick for whatever reason, and they eventually get the number one pick. It's been known to happen. Do I believe in coincidences? No.
You don't believe in coincidences?
I don't believe in coincidences.
Well, that is an existential conversation that we'll have to save for another pod. That's
for other stuff. In this case, it is what it is.
And B. Smith, speaking to your point, speaking of that pattern, 2010, LeBron leaves the Cavs to go to Miami. The next year, they get Kyrie, number 1 overall in the draft. 2011, Chris Paul is traded to the Clippers. 2012, Nola wins the first overall pick, picks up AD, sending him to New Orleans.
And not just hold on. And Shane, not only did Nola trade Chris Paul and then get the number 1 pick, Nola was having a hard time being sold as a franchise. And the NBA was able to work out a deal with the Benson family, and then they got the number 1 pick. So, hey, please buy this franchise. Now, the Bensons made out pretty good in that. I think they're up about $1.5 billion from that deal.
But adding to that, 2019, AD traded to the Lakers. The next year, they pick up Zion Williamson, number 1 overall in the draft. Then, of course, this year being the latest example, the Luka Laker trade, then them resulting in Cooper Flagg. But yeah, just wanted to clarify that for you, B. Smith.
And I'll do some more non-coincidences for you. Chicago has, I think, a 1.8% chance to get the number 1 pick. It's the year that Derrick Rose comes out, who grew up in Chicago, and the Bulls get the number 1 pick. Tim Duncan is on his way out. Oh, look, the Spurs got Wemby, so they stay relevant as a franchise. Now, look, I can't sit here. I don't see how they would be able to rig this based on what I've read about how they do the actual drawing of ping pong balls. It seems to be pretty legit, but you don't believe in coincidences. If coincidences do exist, this is one of the all-timers. This goes in the Coincidence Hall of Fame. Because you give the Lakers one of the marquee franchises in the league, whose best player is about to retire in the next couple years, one of the league's marquee players. So the Lakers remain relevant for the next decade. The NBA gets a huge bump in terms of media coverage and general chatter because of that trade. That was the most talked about trade in NBA history. And then the Mavs come and are rejuvenated as a franchise because they also get their franchise player. If Silver is pulling the strings, might I say, he did a masterful job of doing so. You know what I mean? I'm okay. Hey, Stern on, Silver. Go ahead.
What's that logo from the Godfather? The puppet?
Oh, yeah. Pulling the strings for sure.
Yeah,
now, before we move on, can we just do a quick, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a moment of sadness for the Charlotte Hornets, the Utah Jazz, and the Washington Wizards.
You can't blame Michael Jordan for this one, folks.
I mean, specifically the Jazz, the Wizards. The Jazz and the Wizards have the best odds to get the number 1 pick. They have no meaningful way to get better outside of draft capital. They've been spending years and years in the wilderness waiting for a player like Cooper Flagg to come around. And they have the 5th and 6th picks in this draft. Pain for Wizards fans. Pain for Jazz fans. I mean, that is just brutal. I can't believe it, honestly. But the Dallas Mavericks get the number 1 pick. Cooper Flagg is headed to Dallas. What do we think about Cooper in Dallas?
Good fit. He and somebody joked about it. Here's somebody who's really going to take care of himself, take care of his body, unlike someone who left to go to Los Angeles. That was the question marks, according to Nico. But yeah, no, I think it's a great fit. Can they surround him with people that can make him better and that he knows he can make them better?
All right, so Shane, you are Cooper Flagg. All right, I'm making you're still Shane, but you are the number one prospect in the draft. You are the Cooper Flagg of this year's draft. You're sitting in the audience. You know it's going to be either the Mavericks, the Spurs, or the Sixers. Where do you want to go if you're Cooper Flagg?
I mean, between those three destinations, I don't think there would be a complaint. Like if I'm Cooper Flagg, if I'm the number one overall pick, I mean, because I think both would be great. Any of those situations I think would be great schematically and fit wise. I mean, all of those cities, are great markets to be in. You know, as journalists, we know how much a market means.
San Antonio's on the lower end of NBA markets, but I get your point.
I mean, but in general, San Antonio is and it's a historic franchise just in terms of the NBA. There's some history that comes with that Spurs logo. Right. Yeah. Great ownership. Pop is now moving to the front office, so it's still in good hands. You know,
no state tax.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt either. Yeah, that doesn't hurt important. Either. Mm-hmm. You know, in Dallas, I feel like the thing that sets Dallas apart is that is a team that is in win now mode, you know, with them putting all their eggs in the baskets of Kyrie Irving and AD. You know, they got some young guys surrounding them.
Questionably in win now mode. They traded a 25-year-old superstar for a 31-year-old superstar.
Yeah.
They just were like, let's accelerate this timeline and be a little worse while we're at it.
Yeah. So that's more of a win now situation. You know, we could, I mean,
but if you're Cooper, do you want to go to a win now situation, or would you rather go somewhere where you can grow and develop at your own pace? I mean, I think that Cooper would probably take the win now situation because he seems extremely competitive. Yeah. He chose to go to Duke. He wants to be in big games. He wants to be in big moments. But for his development, is it better if he's with this? You know, the Sixers are kind of in win now mode too. They just signed Paul George.
How old is Cooper Flagg again?
I think he's 11.
But Paul George is no longer.
I think he's 18.
He's 18. Okay. He's 18. But
Paul remember George what you were like when you were 18. I don't care how talented you are. Remember when you were like when you were 18 years old.
Yeah, but he's a bit more precocious than I was at 18.
He is. Well, yeah. But what I'm saying is this: to make a decision like that, you know, I mean, you're just happy. You want to compete, you want to win, but 18, 19 years old, you're not necessarily thinking bigger picture. And I don't care how talented
you say that, but this is not a regular 18-year-old. At the age of
he's not.
He was not the best player in all of college basketball. He became, I guess, a nationwide phenomenon. He wasn't quite on Zion level, but he became a nationally known celebrity. I mean, this is not he's been seen as a franchise NBA basketball player since he was 16. So this is not a norm. You can't compare this to, you know, somebody who's a senior at the high school down the road. Like
No. I'm not. He is well advanced beyond his years. I get that. I still think at 18, 19 years old, you want to win, but you're trying to figure out how to fit in. You know what is going to be expected of you, and he has the ability. He has a basketball IQ to pull it off. But now you're going up against pros.
I don't know. I think this could also be a good move for his development as well, because you're putting him in a position where he has to adapt early to high stakes. Yes. You know, like you guys said, Dallas is clearly a team in win now mode. Yeah. You know, investing a lot into the Kyrie Irving AD sort of duo. You're putting Cooper Flagg in a position where now you're forming a trio in Dallas. You're not picking up Cooper Flagg to sort of, you know, learn from the bench and be able to sort of shadow, you know, the starters in front of him, similar to how Dalton Connect's role in LA. You're bringing him to Dallas to put you over that hump. You're bringing him to Dallas to sort of reinforce that offensive attack in Kyrie and AD, something that your role player squad in PJ Washington, Derek Lively, something those guys can sort of play around. Daniel Gafford, like you're putting him in a position to. You said what?
You hope that you are bringing him in to be a critical piece in a championship level team. That is what you hope.
Yeah.
But the reason that you are getting Cooper Flagg is for 15 years of contention.
Right. But
being
able
to his development is the most important thing right now.
For sure. But I think that putting him
to be in the playoffs and to be in big moments. But if you're in a big moment, right? It's game 5 of a 2-2 first round series against the Warriors. Mavs Warriors. And it's the 4th quarter, right? And Cooper Flagg's development is the most important thing. So in that situation, you would probably say, we need to get Cooper. We need to play through Cooper here because he needs to learn what it's like to be the guy in these scenarios. But the more productive thing for your team in that situation is probably to play through Kyrie Irving or to play through Anthony Davis. So then you have that push and pull that you have to deal with. That's a pretty good thing to have to deal with. Do we go to our prodigy or to our all-star and we're in the playoffs? It's not it's a very lucky problem to have. And I probably think ultimately you are right, Shane, in that even if you don't go with we have to play through him, just being on the floor in game 5 of a playoff series against the Warriors, even if you're a role player, is probably still really, really good for your development and productive towards you becoming one of the best players in the league.
I mean, we saw that in Jason Tatum's development. Jason Tatum got to play with Kyrie Irving and on a contending team really since he was drafted to Boston. He's been on a contending team since he's been in the league. And, consistently he's in the playoffs. He's in the conference championship. He's been to the finals for 2 out of the past 3 years, I believe. Losing one to the Warriors, beating the – So what?
2 finals trips, 1 championship.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a guy that, has a playoff career for sure, but he got started early. I think we could see this similar sort of path.
Shane's cooking right now. That's a good comparison.
I will say this, though, because I know you brought up Kyrie Irving and helping his development. Hold up just a moment. He's 33 years old. He's coming off an ACL tear. You guys, I'm not a doctor in any way, shape, or form, but I notice patterns when guys tear their ACLs, particularly guys like Kyrie Irving, who are this age. It's not advanced. He's 33 years old, but I'm just saying it may take another year for him to rally back from that knee injury. So his development as far as helping Cooper Flagg may be slightly limited.
I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with that, B. Smith, because
I'm just telling you, it takes a full year. It's one thing to recover. I'm not a doctor, but we've seen it on numerous occasions where guys, they'll be back, but are they back mentally?
But see, like with Kyrie, the way Kyrie plays basketball, I don't think it'll be the. I mean, of course, it takes a rehabilitation stage, but I don't think it'll be as extensive as what you're making it out to be. Like, this isn't an Achilles tear.
It's going to be horrific, but it's going to take a little bit of time. One, to get used to Cooper Flagg, but also for him to not just physically recover, mentally recover. You got to trust how your knee's going to work. At 33 years old,
we're also talking about a player that has been through injuries.
As I said, I'm not a doctor.
Different for every player. We just don't know. We got to wait and see. It is really.
Kyrie is a player that is used to overcoming injuries. Like, this isn't a foreign road to him. Not to say he's injury prone, but I mean, does have a history of overcoming. And I think it's fair to say after each injury he has bounced back and has still looked like peak Kyrie. And then you're bringing in this young blood, these fresh legs in Cooper Flagg. Yep. I think that'll make it even easier for Kyrie's rehab stage because now there isn't as much weight on him.
Yeah,
there isn't as much weight on him. He can defer now to Cooper Flagg and AD and vice versa. I think if we were talking about a Russell Westbrook whose game is really centered around his explosiveness and his ability to get up, I think that would be different.
Right.
I think, you know what I mean? Because that's a guy who Kyrie doesn't use his bounce as often, not nearly as often as Russell Westbrook does.
He doesn't use his bounce as like Westbrook, but you got to understand, Kyrie, do we all agree, has one of the best handles ever? How much does that require cutting? How much pressure does that put on that knee?
We just don't know. And the other thing too is Westbrook. Somebody like Westbrook has athleticism to spare. So if he comes back and he's 80% of what he was, he's still one of the most athletic players in the league. Sure. Whereas someone of lesser athleticism, if they come back and they're 80% of what they are, all of a sudden they're not a high enough caliber athlete to be successful. But it's different for every player. We won't know until we see how Kyrie comes back. It is a good point though that he is someone who has routinely come back from injury and maintained a high level of performance.
That takes mental toughness. I mean, if you have mental toughness, there's not a lot of.
Isn't this his first ACL tear?
As far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I'm just saying. I hope he does. I hope he does come back. But historically speaking, sometimes it takes guys a little time.
Okay, so real quick before we get to the actual playoffs, we're at the hour mark of the pod here, so we got to cruise through. I'm just gonna say really quick. Let's pretend this is a perfect world where there's something in the water. Everyone gets really healthy. And somehow, some way, we have ultimate health and motivation down in Philly, and you've got Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and Cooper Flagg all on the same team. And Ace Bailey all on the same team. That is a lot of firepower, but we know that hasn't happened in a while in Philly, so we won't get too excited just yet. Okay. Let's move on.
I don't know. I think it could happen. I'm not going to lie, Connor. Like, if we're looking at least these top three, I think it is very possible the Sixers could get Ace Bailey. I mean, I would be surprised if the Spurs pass up on him. But you know who I think the Spurs?
Oh, the Spurs are going. I think the Spurs are going Harper. I don't
even think it's Harper, to be honest with you. I don't see them going Harper when they already have Fox and Stephon Castle and Vassell. Like, I don't see them going Harper. But
if you're the Spurs and you've got Wemby, you've got Wemby at his age, you don't draft for fit. You draft best player. You are building a core. I don't think you worry about fitting guys in. I think you worry about going out and getting the best player that you could possibly find. I bet the Warriors wish they had done that with Tyrese Haliburton instead of James Wiseman and said, all right, let's just go get the best player we can find in the draft. If you need to trade De'Aaron Fox down the line, you trade De'Aaron Fox down the line. And Castle's not a point guard. So Harper and Castle.
Well, neither is Harper. Harper is more of a shooting guard than a point guard, but he plays it up. But his position would be point guard, I think. But he has a similar. I mean, that's really an identical player to De'Aaron Fox, and I mean, it's very guard heavy. Like, it would seem weird to me, at least, for them to add another guard in that mix when they could either go more of a wing guy and get some more length in Ace Bailey, creating some more of a Twin Towers type of offense in San Antonio. But I do think
the best player you can possibly get.
Ace Bailey is the best player. Ace Bailey would obviously be the better. I mean, that's the best player available.
But it's also a guard.
I haven't watched the tape. I haven't watched any tape, but everything I've read has Harper ahead of Bailey in terms of a prospect. I have not watched Rutgers tape, so I cannot speak on it confidently, but I have yet to read something that has Bailey ranked over Harper when it comes to player rankings in this draft. You might have a different opinion on it, Shane. That's just not what I have been seeing.
Yeah, to be fair, I haven't seen it either. Like, everything I've seen has Dylan Harper going before Ace Bailey, but at least from Bailey, what I've seen, it seems to me, especially because of his size. I mean, it could be me just sort of favoring the size, but with the skill set Ace Bailey has at his size, he almost reminds me of what Jason Tatum-esque, if he had more of an aggressive mindset. Like he's bigger than Jason Tatum. He can shoot, he can dribble, he can create. He honestly reminds me of KD. I think that would be a better comparison. Like, KD is a tall guy. He's a 3-level scorer. Like, I honestly see KD in Ace Bailey, and I think that would be the perfect complement to a Wemby, who is really more of a true center. Who is, a unicorn, but a true center.
Two things quick. One, no disrespect whatsoever, but Ace Bailey is not in the same stratosphere of Kevin Durant when it comes to as a prospect.
I was going to say,
I'm saying play style, and I'm saying play style and body. He reminds me of a KD, just being the height and size of a center, but having a similar skill set as a guard or more of a wing guy.
I'll tell you what, he didn't have that kind of touch that Durant had when he was at Texas. That 1 year at Texas.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm clearly not saying that this guy is.
Yeah. You're saying he's KD
like,
KD
I'm saying KD like. KD is one of a kind.
I'll take that.
But I'm saying in terms of his build, his body.
Don't talk about Kevin Durant around me and B. Smith. Absolutely not.
What?
KD was thin.
Okay. Did you Shane? Did you see what he measured at the combine?
No. What did he measure?
No shoes on, 6'7.5".
Ace Bailey?
Yeah.
Everything I've seen said 6'10".
So in talking with, this is from NBA.com, and talking with several folks in Chicago, no one, and especially not Bailey himself, believed he'd measure at the 6'10" height Rutgers listed him at this season. But his 6'7.5" measurement without shoes was a genuine surprise, even to those who knew the 6'10" figure was a reach. So
I got listed at 6'3" in high school once. I was like, really?
Was that freshman year?
If you were to ask people at the station how tall B. Smith is, I think they would say 6'6".
No,
B. Smith he's just got a little extra when he walks through there. And Shane, I'm not trying to. That's new information. That came out like 2 days ago. I was with you. I thought that he was this big sort of power forward level shooter.
On his film, that's what he looks like. That's what he looks like on film.
Right.
But real quick, you know a guy who I think would be a good pickup for the Spurs. Like they're probably not going to get him because he's not really a top 5 guy, but he definitely seems like a pop guy to me. Like a guy that like
I know. Let me guess.
Go ahead.
The Duke guy, Con Knipple.
Yeah. yeah. A Swiss Army knife, a guy that can score, that can set the tone on offense, but that can also play defense.
Wait. Why is that not Dylan Harper?
Well, because it's a different skill set than Harper. Con Knipple is more of a compliment. I think he would be a better compliment to De'Aaron Fox and Wemby than Harper, because he's not I don't know. I see like Dylan Harper as a guy who needs to be the center, who is going to be the guy on an offense. I think Con Knipple, I think he can gel a little better. I think he can be more of a glue, like what the Spurs could use and what some of their best teams have had in the past, their championship winning teams have had in the past, is a guy that can be the glue, sort of, in between their superstar talent. You got a guy that can also put up numbers on offense, but then that can also be a valuable piece on defense.
Yeah, but the Spurs are not in a place yet to go find the glue. The Spurs need to find stars. They need to make sure that Wemby has another star. You need to go get high.
But they have that already. They have that in De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is a star. De'Aaron Fox is a bona fide star. You got Stephon Castle, who this year, who was a rookie of the year candidate, was one of the arguably the best rookie in the game this year. Castle, I mean, like, he's a guy that can clearly put numbers on the board. Like they got guys already.
I don't think, in my personal opinion, De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle are both really good pieces. I don't think, God, I hate to say this because he's a good player. In my opinion, Fox has not shown enough to be considered someone who could be the second best player on an NBA championship team. I don't know if he's done enough. With him as the franchise player, the Kings were never able to win a playoff series. And after one first-round run, they fell back down to the basement. I think he's a really good player. He's a little ahead of Wemby's timeline. I think he's a really good guy to have. I'm trying to think of a comparison. He maybe fits more of maybe a Drew Holiday, not in terms of how he plays, but in terms of where he fits into a championship team. If he's your third or fourth best player, I think you're in a good spot. Castle is really promising, but he's a question mark. You need to take another shot at getting a superstar. You're not ready to say, let's fill in our glue spots. You know what I mean?
I'm guessing
this is crazy. We're on after 9. We haven't talked about the playoffs yet at all.
I guess it just depends on your faith in Fox. I guess that's what it comes down to.
I believe in that because you got to have a bit of a resume to really show something that you are that guy.
I mean, Fox is a really good player. I don't see him as – I don't think he's on that Mitchell, Haliburton, Brunson level.
Yeah.
I don't think he's up there with those guys.
He's more consistent than Haliburton to me.
Yeah, but Haliburton has been able to accomplish more in big moments. And I think Haliburton has proven to have a bigger impact on if Haliburton is your point guard and you've got a decent supporting cast, you probably have a really high-level NBA offense. And that is not a promise that you get with De'Aaron Fox. I think that Haliburton makes the players around him better than Fox does. And I think the fact that Haliburton has such a consistent outside jumper means that he's a more viable superstar point guard in the NBA than De'Aaron Fox.
I think this is a good segue into the playoffs because I think we're putting a little recency bias on Haliburton's capabilities based off of this past series. I mean, if you're basing this off of especially what we saw against the Cavs, I mean, we saw the Pacers beat an injured Cavs team. Like they didn't have their main starters in a really key game that could have been a momentum shifter for the Cavs. A game that the Cavs still almost won if it wasn't for a buzzer beater 3 game winner by Haliburton. A game that they still almost won in spite of not having Garland, in spite of not having Evan Mobley, in spite of not having DeAndre Hunter. Like there were key pieces that this Cavs team was missing in what we are calling a masterclass performance playoff series win.
I agree with you on that one, Shane, but here's the flip side of what Tyrese Haliburton did that perked my interest. You mentioned that game-winning 3. He didn't have to take a game-winning 3. He intentionally went out and said, we're winning this game.
That's true. Big-time moment, for sure.
And in the previous game, he goes from defense to offense that quickly. Just took over. That's building a playoff resume that you're now seeing. He's maturing now. He's a guy who wants the spotlight and loves the spotlight, doesn't mind it. That's special. And the more he keeps doing this, the more he will, he won't worry about the criticism. Oh, he's not that good. He's not this good. He is that good. He's that guy right now.
And the Pacers, and he went out and beat Giannis in the series before.
Exactly.
And you can say that the Cavs.
The Bucks were more hurt than the Cavs were.
Irregardless, they
were more depleted than the Cavs.
But who is winning the series? The Pacers are winning the series. Any other team, there's injuries all across the league. Yeah. Which teams are winning their series? And they were in the conference finals last year too. So it's not just a one-year thing. They were in the conference finals last year too. Yes, there are injuries, of course. But Haliburton is on the court. The whole team is on the court making big plays in big moments year after year, series after series. And before Haliburton got there, they were not a relevant playoff team. He got there, and with Pascal Siakam and some other good pieces, turned the Pacers into a real squad that is there in the playoffs, giving them an opportunity to take advantage of good matchups. Giannis was healthy, and they beat Giannis. And the Cavs had most of those guys back in Game 4, and the Pacers undressed them on national television.
But let's not act like
he's not just beating Ward 3 at the hospital. Like, he is making big plays in the biggest moments against really good teams at a time of year when everybody's banged up.
Let's not. I think really good teams is being nice. Like the Bucks were not a really good team. But they didn't have Dame. They didn't have Dame for most of that series.
And the Cavs won 64 games.
But they were also hurt in that series. Like that wasn't the Cavs team we saw in the regular season was not the same team we saw in that series. I know we can't punish Haliburton and the gang for that, because I mean they gotta play against who's on the court, right? So I know we can't punish them for that, but at the same time, they're not. I feel like saying really good teams is a stretch because one. The Bucks just had Giannis. That was it. They just had Giannis. Dame was hurt. They obviously haven't been at the strength they were back when Chris Middleton was in a Bucks uniform. Like this was a rundown Bucks team that was just that Giannis was just pulling like a little kid on a sled, just trying to pull this team as much as he could.
There was a rundown Bucks team.
And then they also saw an injured Cavs team right after.
With the Pacers. I'll go back last season with the Pacers when they beat the Knicks. And the Knicks were banged up. They were beaten beyond belief. And they figured it out. They grew up. You're seeing that same team right now, irregardless of who's injured, who isn't. This team has grown up, and you gotta give them their due.
But B. Smith, you just said it yourself. The Knicks were run down.
You're right.
They were losing. They were dropping like flies during their previous series against us. I mean,
get it.
and that was a team without Joel. Like the Knicks themselves were down to their last man in that series. Like they didn't play a fully healthy Knicks squad.
Yeah, I agree. But still,
Game 4 of this series against the 64-win Cleveland Cavaliers, Evan Mobley played 37 minutes. Jared Allen played 30 minutes. Darius Garland, 33. Donovan Mitchell, 38. Strus, 26. DeAndre Hunter, 30. That's their whole squad, and they all played more than 30 minutes. And Tyrese Haliburton and his boys, Tyrese Haliburton went 10 for 15 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3. He had 31, 8, and 6, and he was a plus 27 in plus minus. So you can talk about injuries, but he's doing it against healthy teams. He's doing it against superstars. He's doing it in the playoffs. He's doing it in the last second of the game and the last quarter of the game. Look, he's not one of the 5 best players in the league, but you got to give the man some credit. Just because they don't beat the healthy 96 Bulls doesn't mean that guys don't deserve credit.
For sure. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve credit. I'm just saying I think it needs to be taken with a little more grain of salt than what we're doing right now. You talked about this Cavs team, game 4.
Credit.
This is the same
credit.
This is the same game. This is the same game. This is
No
the
salt.
same game
No
where
grains
Strus
of
had
salt.
0 points and was 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. This was the same game where Darius Garland. You said what, B. Smith?
No one's going to be healthy throughout these entire playoffs. Who steps up the best? Tyrese Haliburton is the guy who stepped up.
And think about this.
He helped them lead and take it from Cleveland.
Shane, you're pointing out to us players who played bad. What we're saying is Tyrese Haliburton played awesome. Stop saying, you got to take it with a grain of salt because Garland played bad. No, Tyrese Haliburton played awesome against the 64-win Cavs in the biggest game of the season, up 2-1 in Game 4. And he's hitting game-winning shots, and his dad is running around with a towel on the court in superstars' faces.
He shouldn't be getting in Giannis's face, though. You can't do that.
Okay.
You had to have a talk with Dad.
Power rankings. Give me your 1 through 4 of these players. Ready? Tyrese Haliburton, Jaylen Brown, Paolo Banchero, Victor Wembanyama. 1 through 4. Go.
You said Hallie, you said JB.
Yeah.
You said what was the other 3?
Hallie, JB, Paolo, and actually I'm going to take Wemby off because he wasn't in the playoffs this year, and I'm going to replace him with. This is a tough one. I'm going to replace him with. Well, let's just go those 3. I want to hear what you guys do with those 3. I feel like.
So Haliburton, Jaylen Brown, who else?
Paolo Banchero. The Mavs took a game off the Celtics, the Magic.
Haliburton, JB, Powell. 1, 2, 3.
Haliburton, JB, Paolo. Shane.
I'm putting JB at 3.
Same.
Just at this based off these playoffs.
What a long way Shane has come. The first time I ever saw a piece of media from Shane Fordham, he was saying Jaylen Brown was the best player on the Celtics, better than Jason.
First of all, that was 2 years ago, and I'm still right. I still think JB. I still think if I'm putting, look at how he performed without JT. He didn't need JT to get a dub.
He did have a good game. Okay,
he didn't need JT to get a dub. So
he did play 12 assists. He did play really well.
Yes, okay. 12 assists, 26 points, bro. He was on both. He was showing up on both sides of the ball.
See, Derek White.
Derek White did go off 36. I think he had 7 threes. So
Luke Cornett had the best game of his life.
Luke Cornett too. Yeah, he was a hero that game as well. They couldn't they couldn't stop him. But I'm gonna put JB. I'm putting JB at 3 because overall this was a bad series for JB. This was a bad playoff series for JB. I mean, dribbling the traffic, making poor decisions with the basketball. So
Still
I got him at 3.
Still going. He's trying to jinx y'all.
He's still going. He's still going. I'm just saying what we saw leading up to this point. That's all I'm saying. But I'm gonna put, even though Paolo's stats were better in his series against Boston, I'm gonna put Hallie first because he's a winner. Like you guys said, when it mattered, he did show up. He did make the shots that counted. He made the plays that counted. So I'm going to go Hallie, Paolo, JB. I mean, Paolo was doing everything he could against the Celtics except for game 5.
I wanted to see where B. Smith, I had a feeling that your rankings would go like that. Shane, I wanted to see what your actual Hallie thoughts are. And it sounds like you do respect his game quite a bit.
I do.
You maybe think that B. Smith and I are a little too hot on Hallie.
Yeah, like I don't think Tyrese Haliburton is a head and shoulders better basketball player than De'Aaron Fox. I think Haliburton, I just don't think he is. Like I think Haliburton is
on our television every night. Who's better, Tyrese Haliburton or Tyrese Maxey?
These playoffs, Tyrese Haliburton grew up. He grew up
for
in
sure.
a major
He's
way.
a little inconsistent.
For sure.
He'll have games.
It's fine.
He's one of those superstars where he'll have games where he has like 3 points.
He's having playoff moments.
But he also has the surrounding pieces as well that you need to win during this time of the year. Like
but he also showed those guys who didn't show up. He scored 11 of his 19 points in the fourth quarter. So
right. So
I'm just saying to say, oh, he still needs his guys. No, the guys needed him, and he showed up and took care of business.
I'm not necessarily saying he needs his guys, but at the same time, it's just a fact he does benefit from. I mean, at the same time, the Pacers are a complete team. We're seeing that they're similar to how the Miami Heat looked a couple years ago in the playoffs on their finals run. You know, not having anybody really flashy, but having a guy who could go out and win you a game when you needed him to in Jimmy, and just a really good group of surrounding role players. I think that's kind of what this Pacers team reminds me of.
Every single person going into these playoffs, nobody would have said they had a better roster than Cleveland.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But we are seeing that this is a team that has what they need to win games during this time of year.
Okay.
I mean, Pascal Siakam, clear reason why, defender, rebounder, but he can also score. They got a rebounder in Miles Turner. They got another guy who can be productive on the scoreboard in Nesmith. So, I mean, this is
B. Smith. You already you ever notice every once in a while Shane just starts naming dudes? He catches fire. By the end of it, he's naming dudes I've never even heard of. Nembhard can play though. Nembhard is a beast.
I agree.
You had one lineman during our schedule portion where I was like, he is deep in his bag right now.
Oh, yeah.
Deep. You.
What? Who did I name?
I can't remember, but you threw one lineman out there. I was like, oh.
Talking about the Commanders?
Yeah. Not for the Commanders. It was for one of the other squads. But you've been cooking. I'm not gonna lie, Shane. You've been cooking this pod. You've had a couple moments where you went like 4 for 4 from 3 in 2 minutes. The Tatum Flagg comparison was, I like that a lot.
It's because I know ball. Y'all just need to listen up more. That's all. Y'all just need to listen more. But I will say you guys are making good points about the Pacers. I'm not trying to necessarily diminish Tyrese Haliburton. I'm just saying I don't think that because of what we are seeing now, I'm not ready to say that just in terms the ability to play basketball. I'm not ready to say that he is a head and shoulders better basketball player than De'Aaron Fox when De'Aaron Fox is in a not as good situation as Tyrese Haliburton. I mean, literally lost his coach in the middle of the season, a coach that almost won them the West the year before. And he lost his running mate, his best friend, his boy, his 6th man of the year in Malik Monk. I mean, and Sabonis is no one to fear on the defensive end of things, on the defensive aspect in the game. Whereas Tyrese Haliburton, he's got guys that are healthy, which I know you can't blame him for, but it's just a fact. He's got guys that are healthy. He's got guys that can score.
I think if you traded Haliburton for Fox, I think the Kings are better, and I think the Pacers are worse.
I agree.
I don't think that at all.
And plus, too, I'll put it to you this way, fellas. Greatness shows up. You see it.
That's a good place to end it right there.
You show up, you know.
And B. Smith and Shane Fordham, they showed up today. That's what greatness is. You just watched it on the 13 News Now Sports Overtime podcast. We would hit 2 hours without even blinking, I think. But it's my job to make sure I got us off. What's wrong, Shane? You feel like you didn't get to say your piece?
I think you're right. I'm just agreeing with you.
One last thought, because I know y'all just look. I know the Knicks didn't have a first round draft pick. I get it, but I'm surprised you guys didn't.
What are you talking about?
What do you think of the Knicks in these playoffs? Because I know I've been told, why you always like this.
See, now that's a whole nother hour.
We're at 125.
I know we need to stop. Yeah,
we went 45 minutes on going through the Commanders' schedule for a season that doesn't start for 6 months.
That's true. Hey, go Knicks.
Listen, we got another pod coming next week. We're definitely going to talk a lot of Knicks because at that point they'll be in the conference finals. There's a lot of Knicks talk coming. There's a lot of Anthony Edwards talk coming. The Thunder Nuggets series is awesome. We're about to go watch the second half right now as soon as we get off this pod. So let's go ahead and get off this pod. Thank you for joining us once again on the Sports Overtime 13 News Now podcast. See you next week.